Welcome to this video about file downloads in Blazor server. This video in the title has .NET 5. Why is that? If we want to download a file over a MVC controller in Blazor server in .NET Core 3.1, we see the file and it's getting downloaded. But if we then click back on the Blazor application, we get an error stating that the circuit is terminated. So until .NET 5, we weren't able to download a file over a controller by returning a file result because the circuit, the WebSocket circuit, was terminated because of that. But now in .NET 5, it is possible, and I want to show it to you. Therefore, I have .NET 5 installed, the release candidate version 2, and to use it, I have the Visual Studio Preview. Yeah, so let's get into it. I have to create, so I want to download a file. In this case, it's going to be an Excel file with information about the visit of the page. So I'm going to create a class, call it component visit, has two properties, the count, stating how many times you were on it, and the interactions, so how many times you have clicked something on a page. I also have to create a class, and I call it container, which has a dictionary, key of type string, value of type component visit, call it visits. I have to create the container for the dependency injection because I can't inject the dictionary, and the string here will be the name of the clicked component. Yes, so now I go to main layout. Here I have to inject the navigation manager and the container. Oh, it's protected. So this method will always run when we load the component. Because it's the main layout component, it will only run once when we make a new request to the Blazor application. Here I called it container visits. Now we have to initialize it. That's the dictionary initializer here. The key will be of type string, but will be the route of the component, and the value will be the information about the visit, and one because we have clicked it once. Now we register, we subscribe to the event. Here I'm getting the component name out of the event arguments, out of the location changed event arguments. Now here if there is already a key value pair in the dictionary, I'm just going to increment its count, otherwise I have to create a new key value pair. The string will be component name, new component visit, again count equals 1. Now, because here I want to resolve the service over the injection container, however you want to call it. I have to register here the container. I do it as a scoped, so with lifetime scoped, every request will get a new one, which makes sense because for every request is a visit to a Blazor application, and for every visit we want to generate the Excel. So now I have here also the property with name interactions. So I go here to the counter. Here in the counter I also have to inject the container so that I can set the interactions. Now here I'm filtering it. The key, I just say contains counter because we are on the route counter here. Then I'm taking the first one, and here I'm taking the value out of it because here I have a key value pair and I want the value of the key value pair. And then I'm just incrementing the interactions by 1 for every click we do. That's that. Now I am going to the index component here. Here in the index component, I have to build a form so that we can send it to the controller that will later do that will later generate the Excel. And here get Excel data for visit. The action I am going to call Excel method post. Now here I hide everything, so we don't want to see the form. Here I'm giving it the name of JSON. Now, what am I doing here? Yes, first I have to inject the container again. So, as you know, in the container we have stored all the information about the component visits. Now I want to make a post request to a controller with this information serialized in JSON. Therefore, here I'm going to use the system text JSON namespace, JSON serializer, serialize container visits. So these are now stored in JSON. Now, if I bind it to JSON, it is stored like in this form. And whenever we are going to click the button, this JSON is submitted or posted to the action Excel. But I also have to make the button type submit, and now the ID submit button submit. Yeah, I think submit is only with 1 T, but let's just leave it at that. Okay, now I have to create the controller. API controller, call it Excel. To make the whole Excel generation thing work, I have to install a package. It is called EE+. Install package EPP+. Okay, great. So we don't need the documentation here, popped out. Okay, great. So let's proceed here. Now, first I have to deserialize it. So dictionary, key of type string, value of type component visit. Call it just visits. Now here I just paste it in. Yeah, first I have to create an action, of course. I've completely forgot that. Now the return type will be file content result. So that's the Excel file. I call it generate Excel. So and I'm copying this back in here. Now we are expecting from our form string with the name JSON. Here I'm just copying this into that. And now I of course have to give it the string to deserialize. So that's the JSON thing here. Now the Excel package. So the thing here with the Excel package, I don't know by heart. I've copied it, non-commercial. Now, because we are returning a file content result, is a file stored as a byte array. So I have to create a byte array here. Now using var package new Excel package. Now I have to create a work or a sheet, Excel sheet, package, workbook, how is it called? So again, this is not by heart. So, and now we can create the cells. These are working in a way that we first have to set the row and then the column. So I'm making sheet cells 1 and 1 value. Let's just say the info about your visit. So this would be the first column, and the second column will be times visited, and here the interactions, number of interactions. Now here I have to rename it name of component. So now it's working. Here I have to call it. So now here the row equals now 2 because we want to create a new role. For each var item in visits, here the row, and after every iteration we just increment this variable. Now here we will say item dot, now we have to, we make it with the key, but the second two here we go item value count and item value interaction or interactions. So now I have to actually create a byte array because I've declared it only. Await the package get as byte array async. Now we create our file content result. As I've told you, it expects a byte array. This byte array are the bytes. Here I'm copying in the MIME type. The MIME types are basically like if you want to send files over the web, you have to mark them with the MIME type so that the browser knows how to interpret them. Now, because we want to download it, I have to set the file download name visit And now here I can return the output. No, the file. Okay, I think the only thing that is missing now is I have to here register our controllers, and then we should be ready to go. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Okay, so I'm just visiting some pages here, clicking so to generate some interactions, get Excel data for visit. Okay, I open the file. Here you see the Excel file, name of the component, times visited, and the number of the interactions. Of course, we can only generate interactions in the counter page if we have the code like this, like in this tutorial. Yeah, but I've shown you how we can download an Excel, and thanks to .NET 5, this is now possible, so that even after downloading the Excel, we can reuse our application. And in .NET Core 3.1, this wasn't possible. We would have seen an error message. Now, just to clear it up, sometimes you also see, so there are two possibilities to download an Excel, or maybe more. One of them is via the controllers, which I have shown you now. The other is you can return it as a byte array and then over JavaScript download it over JavaScript by using the JavaScript interop. So just that you don't get confused. Yeah, thank you very much for your attention.